How did a seemingly ordinary online date escalate into a disturbing and tragic incident that forever changed the lives of those involved? What drives a person to search for ways to commit murder and then carry out those dark intentions with chilling precision? How could a person's online dating profile, revealing struggles with mental health, lead to a plan that ends in the loss of a young life? In a chilling and bewildering tale that unfolded in Melbourne, Australia, the unsuspecting world witnessed a shocking incident. What started as a routine evening turned into a horrifying sequence of events. The story encompasses eerie confessions, disturbing online searches, and a tragic loss of life. As the details unravel, the boundaries of human psychology and the thin line between intent and impulse become starkly apparent. In this narrative, the boundaries of morality and mental state blur, leaving us grappling with the unsettling complexities of the human psyche. Hi, welcome back to Crime Case Files. If you are new here, please consider subscribing, as it helps us motivate to create more intriguing content for you. Let's have a look at the terrible case of Maulin Rathod. On July 23, 2018, in Melbourne, Australia, a 19-year-old person in Sunbury made an emergency call from their home at 9 p.m. Melbourne, often referred to as the cultural capital of Australia, boasts a rich history and a blend of modern and historic architecture. The incident took place in Sunbury, a suburb located about 40 kilometers northwest of Melbourne's central business district. Sunbury, known for its semi-rural charm and close-knit community, became the scene of a haunting story that involved a young Indian student named Maulin Rathod and a 19-year-old woman named Jamie Lee Dollarguy. The incident shed light on the darker aspects that can exist beneath the surface of even the most seemingly tranquil neighborhoods. The area where the tragedy occurred was not unfamiliar with police visits due to noisy altercations, a fact that contrasted with the peaceful facade that suburbs like Sunbury often present. Melbourne's diverse population includes individuals from around the world, drawn to the city's opportunities for education, work, and a high quality of life. Maulin Rathod, originally from Gujarat in western India, relocated to Melbourne 4 years prior on a student visa to pursue his master's degree in accounting at Charles Sturt University. His story of hope and ambition took a tragic turn in Sunbury, shattering the sense of safety that communities like Melbourne typically provide. Melbourne, a city known for its resilience and unity, grappled with the aftermath of the incident, raising questions about trust, safety, and the limits of understanding the human psyche. As the city continued to thrive with its dynamic art scene, culinary delights, and scenic landscapes, the memory of this chilling incident served as a stark reminder that beneath the surface of any city's vibrancy, there can exist a dark and haunting reality. Senior Constable Luke Culkin was on duty at the Sunbury police station at the time and immediately recognized the person on the other end of the phone. The caller stated that they believed they had caused someone's death, even though they hadn't intended to. They explained that the person had come, and they didn't show signs of fear. They admitted to strangling him and mentioned that the person's body was on their bed. They also expressed an unusual sense of satisfaction, but emphasized not wanting to be a killer. In response to their statement, someone inquired, "Did you actually do that?" They responded in a soft and direct manner, "You never trust me. Why don't you have faith in me?" Upon police arrival at the house, the voice was identified as Jamie Lee Dollarguy, a person well acquainted with everyone at the station. Inside the bedroom, they found a 25-year-old named Maulin Rathod. He was lying motionless with a cord from a sex toy around his neck. Jamie exclaimed to the police, "You see, I was telling the truth. You never believed me. Why won't you ever believe me?" Maulin Rathod was swiftly taken to the hospital in an ambulance, and Jamie was brought to the police station for interrogation. Based on her prior statements, she was charged with attempted murder, intentionally causing serious harm, and recklessly causing serious harm. The story of what happened and how it happened was scary. The sequence of events on the day of the incident was alarming. In the early evening of July 23, 2018, 19-year-old Jamie Lee Dollarguy logged onto Plenty of Fish, a popular dating app. Her bio mentioned borderline personality disorder and suicidal tendencies, as well as various unconventional preferences. She received a message from Maulin Rathod around 7 p.m. Their exchange of 6 sexual texts led to a plan to meet at her house, where the tragedy unfolded later that night. He told her, "We will do whatever you want." They made plans to meet at her house, and Jamie said she would put on an outfit and her favorite perfume. Maulin Rathod told her he would be there just after 8 p.m. and would text her when he was outside. He then closed the app and began to get ready. Maulin Rathod moved from Gujarat in western India to Australia. He had started a whole new life and was doing well at Charles Sturt University. He was also doing well as a part-time delivery worker. He was an only child and was very close to his parents. He talked to them every day. When they found out it was his dream, they had already sold their house to pay for his move to Australia. Maulin Rathod left as soon as they had the money, and his family took some pictures at the airport before he went. Friends said he was easygoing and happy-go-lucky, but also hardworking and very humble. He was proud to say that his hard work was almost paying off, and that he was only 4 months away from finishing his studies. So much did his teachers believe in him, so that they offered him a job when he finished school so he could stay in Australia for good. Now at the police station, Jamie revealed disturbing insights. She mentioned that after agreeing to meet Maulin Rathod, she felt compelled to kill him. Just a short while after she ended her conversation with him on Plenty of Fish, she visited Google and entered phrases like, "I am going to kill someone tonight for fun," "How to kill someone," "I want to commit murder," and "I am going to kill someone tonight. Help." She proceeded to click on a link labeled 10 Steps for Committing a Murder and Getting Away with It. At 8:07 p.m., Maulin Rathod arrived at the house. She conveyed to the officer that upon his arrival, there had been a prompt assessment of his physique, leading to the belief that he was vulnerable enough to be strangled without much effort. She shared that an expression of interest in role-playing had been made to him, and he had displayed enthusiasm to know more. The account was given that he had been informed that he wouldn't be allowed to leave the house, and indifference had been shown. It had been mentioned that an intention for engaging in choking play was conveyed, and a willingness to learn anything had been expressed. The statement was further given that a mention of having tendencies resembling those of a psychopath in the mind had been made. Rathod's apparent openness to trying anything, as long as refraining from causing harm, was evident. Assurance had been provided that tapping could be used to signal a stop, although the situation seemed to be treated as a game. She informed the police that she had approached him from behind and began to strangle them. Jamie mentioned that she possessed 2 different aspects of her personality, one that exhibited kindness and the other that displayed cruelty. One of these aspects was beneficial, whereas the second one was negative. She expressed her desire for him to flee so that she could contact the police. After a brief moment, he became frightened and tapped her on her shoulder. Contrary to her commitment to stop, she persisted and increased her grip by entwining her legs around his body. She whispered softly into his ear, reassuring him that everything would be all right and it would eventually come to an end. At that moment, after trying to free himself for a short while, Maulin Rathod found himself lying on his stomach. Suddenly, he became motionless, and Jamie mentioned that she used the cord of a sex toy to encircle his neck. When the officer asked, "What was your plan?" she said, "To kill." Just before calling the police, Jamie did some more online searches to find ways to get into the hospital. She told them she had wanted to kill someone and compared it to wanting to smoke a cigarette. As she kept talking, the story got scarier, so she called the cops. Maulin Rathod did not make it, and he died of his injuries just a few hours after getting to the hospital. A young Indian student died after a bad online date. Maulin Rathod has been named as the victim. After being found badly hurt on Monday night, he died overnight at Sunshine Hospital. He went to a house in Sunbury to see a woman who lived there alone and was 19 years old. The visit was set up through an online dating site. The woman's house was a supported residential service that was often visited by carers. Neighbors mentioned this afternoon that the police would frequently visit the area to intervene in noisy and occasionally aggressive altercations. Not surprisingly, Maulin Rathod's friends are very upset about how quickly and violently he died. He was very humble and had a very happy attitude. He liked making jokes and playing cricket. And the woman in jail for attacking Maulin Rathod is likely to have her charges raised to manslaughter or murder. Even though what she did was shocking, it did not really surprise people who knew her. Some of the people who took care of her called her a shape-shifting monster girl. Janie had been in state care since she was 10 years old. Social workers visited her often, and she had been in trouble with the law since she was young. She spent a lot of time in jail for young people. Jamie had caretakers live with her 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in a house owned by the Department of Health and Human Services until she turned 18. They said they were scared of her and could not figure out what she would do next. But when she turned 18, they all left her alone, and she had no one to watch over her. She would thank them for their help by bringing those cakes and cards after their visits, so they got to know her pretty well. She was a big user of social media and posted many times a day. On occasion, the pictures depicted her playfully experimenting with effects and sharing her artistic creations. Long paragraphs talked about her traumatic youth, sexual abuse, and problems with her body. She said that she hated skinny girls who were pretty and wanted to hurt them. She would hurt herself and put batteries in her body, which led to more than 100 surgeries to take out the batteries and other things she had put in her body. One of her friends said she had a demon inside her and sometimes thought she was a dog. She seemed happy and was smiling one minute, and then she went crazy, snapping and growling like a wolf and biting people the next. It is like she had a spirit inside her. It was mentioned that a few weeks prior to Maulin Rathod's killing, there was a Facebook post where she wrote, "If only they believed me when I said I was not sane. I live in fear, afraid of what is around the corner. My heart is black. I no longer feel the emotions of happiness unless I see someone else suffer." On the day of the incident, she sent a text to one of her caregivers expressing, "I feel really sick with bad temptations. I want to call the police, but they will not believe me." Afterward, some of the foremost psychiatric experts in Australia evaluated her case. Their assessment concluded that she was one of the most profoundly mentally affected individuals they had ever encountered. Jamie Dollarguy was without a doubt a very unhappy person, and everyone said she was a time bomb. Even though she said she did it and admitted it, she pleaded not guilty when she first went to court. As authorities dug deeper into the case, Maulin Rathod's friends in Australia got together to raise money to send him back to India to be with his family. It took him 12 days to get home, and he was burned when he got there. Then, a year would go by while more talks, tests, and other things were done to figure out if Janie was fit to stand trial or not. She was found to be guilty, and her murder trial will start at the end of 2019. Even though Maulin Rathod's parents wanted to be there for their son, they said they could not fly over because they did not have enough money. So they had to wait and buy a new phone every day in case there was an update. They could not eat or sleep because of what had happened, and not being able to get to Australia made their pain even worse. The hearing was going to be hard because of Jamie's mental health and his problems in the past. She had already said that she had killed Maulin Rathod, so there was no doubt about it. But now, they were arguing about whether or not her mental health problems affected her at that time, and whether or not she meant to kill. So her lawyers tried to get her found guilty of killing. Her defense team called in a doctor, Dr. Carroll, who told the jury that he did not think Jamie had any kind of psychosis. He said that she knew what she had done was wrong, and that she knew what she was doing. He said that she was very upset, but that she still knew that choking Maulin Rathod would kill him. Sharon Lacey, Jamie's lawyer, talked a lot about her youth. She talked about being abused in the past, living in foster care, and having suicidal thoughts and feelings. They said that her borderline personality disorder played a role and that Jamie's slowed psychological growth was due to the stress she went through as a child. Jamie sat quietly in the courtroom the whole time, never looking up or paying attention. She smiled sometimes, but mostly focused on the children's coloring book she was drawing in and the origami she was making. Sharon said that her client was in such bad shape that the jury could not be sure she meant to kill, so they could not find her guilty of murder. She said that there was no proof that she meant to hurt him. But the prosecution said that even though it was clear that she had been through a lot of bad things and had serious mental health problems, she told the police that she knew she was going to kill him before he even got to the house. They said that as soon as she got that first text, she planned to hurt this guy. When Maulin Rathod came to the house, Jamie said she had looked him over and thought about how easy it would be to kill him. Her own description of what happened showed that Jamie wanted to do this, was very aware of what was going on, and knew exactly what it would mean. They said it was definitely planned. After an 18-day trial with many witnesses, including Jamie's caregivers and medical experts, and a long recording of her police interview, it was up to the jury to make the final decision. A Sunbury woman who choked to death an Indian college student she met on a dating app has been found not guilty of murder. Janie Lee Dollarguy said that strangling her target made her feel good, but a jury decided that she did not mean to kill him. A few hours before Janie Lee Dollarguy tricked her victim into entering her room, the woman who used to believe she was a werewolf searched online for 10 steps to commit a murder and get away with it. An unanimous jury found Dollarguy not guilty of the crime but guilty of the alternative charge of manslaughter. Prosecutors say that the Sunbury woman chose Maulin Rathod on a dating app because she wanted to show how cruel she could be. She purposely strangled him and did not care when he tapped the panic sign until he was dead. The horrible abuse and neglect she suffered as a child caused the Sunbury woman to have a serious personality disorder. Because of her state, she can only feel some regret for killing Mr. Rathod. After the murder, the killer conveyed to the police that she had experienced an unexplained sense of satisfaction. She explained that her life had been marked by significant difficulties, leading her to feel like she was reclaiming something that had previously belonged to her. According to Dollarguy's defense team, her intention was not to cause the death of the Indian student. In fact, she had wished for the victim to cease her actions. During the hearing, Dollarguy used to smile while engaging in the act of creating pictures using colored pencils. However, on this day, her demeanor was different, as she simply stood in place, directing her gaze toward the floor. Her legal representatives stated that they would be unable to compile all of her psychiatric records until April of the coming year. Janie Lee Dollarguy still wants to kill people, and she has said she will kill another prisoner. For now, she is still locked up in a high-security prison, but in just over 3 years, she could be released on parole. As per court documents, one aspect outlined was a limited ability to experience empathy and regret. Remorse often serves as an indicator of potential future wrongdoing. When an individual strongly regrets their actions, the likelihood of repeating those actions diminishes. However, the direct impact of regret on future behavior remains uncertain. Nevertheless, recognizing a genuine sense of guilt for one's actions is important. This recognition can contribute to a potentially more lenient sentence due to the displayed remorse. Maulin Rathod's parents were shocked to hear that people knew she was high risk and that even the social workers were afraid to be alone with her, but she was still allowed to live alone with people coming and going as they liked. Plus, she might be able to leave again in just a few years. It is hard to say what will happen to Janie Dollarguy after these few years in jail or how this situation will be dealt with. This was a very upsetting, troubling, and disturbing case to look into, and we would like to hear what you think about it. One thing we know for sure is that Maulin Rathod died in a terrible way with someone he trusted, and it is hard to imagine what his last few moments were like when he realized what was happening. His father said, "Now that we are old, we are lonely. We miss him, but we have accepted the truth. Our son will not come back, but he will always be in our memories and hearts. What do you think of this case? Let us know in the comments section below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.